Our next topic is ways to prepare yourself for judging street discipline, building and improving the skateboarding common sense. So, guys, in the previous episodes, we talked with our hosts in the park and learned how to prepare uh, for judging before you go to the actual event. Guys, let's say I am the aspiring judge. Look at me. I got the shirt. I just got the call. I'm going to judge a big event in a month from now. So, what would you advise me to do to get prepared? So, when I come to the event, I'm ready. I'm confident. I'm not insecure. I'm not making mistakes. What would you advise me to do to improve my skills as a judge?
Well, I watched previous contests
Hmm.
and like I sort of start taking notes of the tricks that have been done, just so I have like a sort of scale of notes for such tricks. But since every contest is different and every skater like is different, and skateboarding like change and they're getting better from a contest to another,
Hmm.
of course the score is not going to be the same from a contest to another. But at least I have like a sort of example of scale for each trick.
Okay, so you use it as basically like a reference
Yeah,
to know
exactly.
where the kind of level of skating is and how it was scored
Everything is
before.
hypothetical. Nothing is assigned, nothing is concrete, everything is changing. And to add to what Stefan was saying is yes, it's referencing everything that's taken place maybe in the past year, maybe the recent contest that you had previously judged.
Mhm.
Every all content is valuable when entering another event.
Hmm.
Because chances are you're going to see a lot of the same people. Obviously, this is a whole qualifying thing. This is a whole, it's a whole system put in place. So you're going to see a lot of the same people. You're going to see a lot of new people. Um, but yeah, you can't appoint any kind of score to any kind of trick at any point. It's all reference, and um, because just one aspect, the course changes, which
Hmm.
means, obstacles change, heights change, how to approach an obstacle changes. And that is why we don't appoint any scores, because it is ever evolving,
Hmm.
and also so are skateboarders. So yeah, that's just watching events is probably one of the previous events is probably one of the best at like assets, like in order to help you be more aware of the present and what's about to happen, and obviously the expectations of skateboarding evolving, because obviously that's what it does every event. So, and is because the course changes, and so the skateboarder has to adapt. And but all yeah, taking notes and being like, oh, this, or maybe you're on social media and you're watching some of these
Hmm.
skateboarders who frequent these events, are trying stuff you haven't seen, or we've seen it, we probably haven't seen it put all together in one combination of tricks, which is crazy. So that's another place that you can reference. Obviously we can't you know access every single person's Instagram account, but I think
Hmm.
doing your best to go and see kind of what everybody's doing, and then also utilizing that as a means to be sharper come a future event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And
Agreed.
with the other hosts in the previous episodes, we also talked about discussing in between judges, between your professional colleagues, to stay in kind of on point and stay up to date.
Consensus.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Consensus. Yeah.
exactly. I think part of it too, kind of what Vanessa just referenced was, looking back on obviously contests from the past year are great tools. Social media, just following skateboarding in general. And if you're already in this position where you're going to judge one of these events, chances are you're already a fan of skateboarding and you already love
Yeah.
it. So you're doing most of the work anyways,
Mhm.
and that's the best part about it. That's truly what makes this so unique, is that you're paying attention to what's going on in the level of skateboarding that's currently out there in the world already, or you should be. But it is a good idea to sharpen, yourself and sharpen your focus as it's leading up to an event by looking back at past events, looking at what's going on in the past week or two, even, and like, what new tricks are going down. It definitely helps out. And then as well, discussing, the current level of skateboarding with your fellow colleagues, and comparing things that you've seen in the last week or two, or in the last 2 months, or, hey, did you see that video part? That was pretty sick. Like, I think all that stuff contributes to how we approach judging these events.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think it makes
Yeah.
the thing that we call the skateboarding common sense sharper and up to date, because you eliminate the element of surprise, the kind of the negative surprise during the event when you don't know what to do, right? And all of a sudden there's some trick that you've never seen, and less experienced judges might be carried away and do mistakes in their evaluations.
Yeah, there's no favoritism. There's no favoritism here. There's strictly our job is to judge skateboarding and the best skateboarding that we are seeing as it is happening that day.
Mhm.
And yes,
Being
we are impartial, we are unbiased, and I came in and I was like, wow, I can do this. Like, this is great. And, I'm sure as a judge or somebody who's been coming up in skateboarding, aspiring judge, knows a ton of people. I mean, my panel is you know what I mean? Our community is huge, and our culture is very like familial, and so impartial. You have to be impartial no matter what. That is one of the most important, and that can never fail. This is not, you know what I mean? This is not some, party and like, oh, let's just, pick our favorite person. This is fair and accurate judging and coming in unbiased and doing your job and judging skateboarding and skateboarding alone.
I think that makes perfect sense, because what we discussed in the previous episode is that, especially on the sanctioned events on the global level, lives at a lot of people are involved, and not only careers, but a lot of implications are in place when judges not do their job right and impartial. Therefore, we have the code of conduct for skateboard judges and all the other regulations in place to stay impartial, to deliver the most accurate and fair job. And
correct.
The goal of skateboard judging, as we said, is to rank skateboarders fairly and deliver the fair results.
Correct.
Now, Steph, one more thing that brings me to your comments. It's making notes, because in those previous episodes, all our hosts said, and we agreed upon, that the judging notes are one of the most important helping tool for all skateboard judges. They are not only a helping hand to them to make their life easier and judge more accurately cross-reference, but they are also an official document at the event. Now, you said that you are making notes and you are practicing. Our hosts said that they are even practicing note taking before the event. Would you suggest some tips from your side on making notes, or how to make them better, more coherent and clear?
Yeah, the skaters do really a lot of tricks, so we don't have time to write them all, of course. Just to make sure that the way we write it, that we can read it again after the run. It's very important to make it really clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think learning different and abbreviations really helps out. And any aspiring judge should definitely take some time to learn how to write out an entire run quickly with the abbreviations that they're able to come up with. For example, like something I use when someone does a kickflip, I just put KF, a lot quicker to write.
I do the same thing.
It's something
I'm pretty sure we all do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
we all have little like ticks that we do that kind of add to our abbreviations. And the whole point is that any judge after that run, immediately after the run, or even months or years after that run, they can go back and look and describe the entire run as it happened.
Yeah.
So I think a good note taker should obviously, it takes time to perfect it, but once you get it figured out, it becomes a great tool for judges to use.
Okay. And guys, let me ask you, we talked about the, you know, the format of the street, that we have runs and we have the tricks. Are there some special ways for notes for the trick attempts compared to the street runs, let's say? Do you make any different notes? Like, because it's a single trick, right? You look at it in a little bit more detailed way.
Yeah,
in
I'll
my
speak to
opinion.
that for sure. Obviously, in the run section of the contest, there is a lot going on, and the skateboarding is it's constant. It doesn't stop, and because we're all on a time crunch here, so usually, and but in best trick section, we get to kind of pay more attention to just that single trick, and we have a little bit more time to focus on the detail of that trick that has happened.
Yeah, we
And
watched the
so you
replay.
might even see a full write out of the trick instead of
Mhm.
abbreviations, because you have more time to you know what I mean, write those things down, and the nuances of, you know, how that trick was executed. And yeah, so there's I wouldn't say a lot of time, but there's definitely more time to just be like, what it happened on. You know, say it happened on the hubba, I will write out hubba, or, you know, I'll do like an A-frame rail. I will draw out an A-frame rail or something like that that's very specific to that trick that happened. And yes, there's kind of a little bit more time as, you know, each skateboarder approaches a best trick, and then, you know, say they land it or they fall, then the next person comes in, and it's a little bit of a less hectic you know, time frame. You know, one person goes and then another person goes, and we really get to just focus on that one person executing that trick. So
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. So,
the way I write the tricks on the big section, just put a little plus, just to make sure that this trick just stands out, just compared to another one.
or it was done well, or it was done
Or it
really
was
well,
done
and I
well.
just put an arrow up. It's like all the way up.
and if like it's sort of sketchy, like I put a minus,
Yeah.
just to remember that this trick has been a little bit sketchy, like a toe drag or a hand on the ground.
And then you can
Yeah,
remember.
I use a little squirrely line if it's a sketchy trick, so I can remember looking back on it like they did it, but they did it a little sketchy.
Yeah,
You know, so I think we all kind of have our different note taking, you know.
yeah,
things
but
that help us out.
they all make sense.
Mhm.
all right, that's great to hear, because you know, figuring it out and creating your own system that makes sense and helps you through the judging day, so to say,
Mhm.
it's the key and the most important thing when it comes to the accurate evaluations at the end. And like you guys said, like paying attention to details and examining the single trick attempts, that's the big part in the individual trick section.
It's crucial. Yeah.
It makes
All
a big
right.
difference.
Any other tips for the aspiring judges, how to prepare themselves before going?
And
Just
another,
practice.
yeah, just
Practice.
exactly.
Yeah,
But,
practice, and you know what I mean, your credibility. And I think you can't it's like put all the time into, you know, perfecting your craft and being
Right.
able to not only read it for yourself but present it to others. So it's crucial to be able
Preparation.
to do that. So I think in all aspects of being a judge, it's just like your legibility, your credibility, your professionalism, and you can't ever supersede that. You can't ever be too great at your job. It's just continuing to, you know, refresh yourself and, you know, keep sharp. And, you know, you have a job to do. You have a job to do. And there are a lot of people involved in this. So it is a serious job.
Preparation is key.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Preparation is key.